Functional CPG on-the-go convenience items need to be more than played-out protein bars and Me Too energy drinks to win in the future. So after I made a video called The Convenience Wheel of Death, I was getting a lot of questions from some of my community. If you guys have not watched that video, I'll pop up one of these banners on YouTube for you guys to watch that video. But the questions were surrounding this idea that I've been a big proponent of functional CPG, convenience items specifically for sports nutrition, for some of the other categories. And what they're saying is, why all of a sudden are you kind of saying don't go all in anymore, be smart? And in that video, I was looking at the heightened competitive landscape and kind of saying that was going to expose some of the internal weaknesses. I was also talking about some external threats that could create some issues across like the broad-based growth of the convenience category. But I want to make sure that I get this straight and just say that I'm not advocating that we go back to this dinosaur era where we're only focused on caps and pills and ready to mix powders. What I'm saying is you kind of have to be smart about a broad-based growth. You need to be figuring out where you can position yourself to win, and where I think the winners will show up is this idea of convenience 2.0. This is what you're going to be seeing coming up now and what you're going to be seeing over the next couple of years. So what I want to do is just kind of sequentially talk about a few things that will make a little bit more sense about what I'm talking about with convenience 2.0. So within functional CPG, you have a lot of the growth happening online. That's coming from both direct-to-consumer and marketplaces. Then you also have food, drug, mass convenience, that sales channel as a whole. Now, while the online channel can grow, infinitely, pretty much the digital shelf doesn't have, a square footage attached to it. As long as there are warehouses and basically sell their items on consignment through a marketplace, you're going to have an infinite amount of space. But with the food, drug, mass convenience retailers, there is a finite amount of square footage. And then as a whole, regardless if there's some winners and losers in retail, you have that channel square footage as a whole is shrinking. The category within those food, drug, mass convenience retailers are growing, but overall, because of the shift to digital sales, as digital sales become more of a percentage of total retail sales, that diminishes the need for as many physical retailers as we do today. So brands, obviously, they can control a lot of the aspect of the online piece. That is under their control in most situations. But to get onto food, drug, mass convenience shelves, be in the merchandising sections, that's becoming extremely competitive because people realize that's the other area of growth. They're trying to get in there. They're trying to figure out, how do we get into these traditional merchandising sections? So this is going to be your active nutrition or your healthy living type of sections, depending on what retailers call them. And though over the last few years, those sections have incrementally been growing, and you're still seeing some incremental growth depending on the retailer in each one of those sales channels, but overall, they can't expand exponentially. That can't take over the whole store because there are areas that make a lot more money per square footage. So they're not able to just kind of take away all these other sections just because of the popularity of protein bars or energy drinks or other functional foods and beverages. So for brands that want to get into this space because they know this is where some of the growth is happening, what do? Where does this leave them? And this is what I'm talking about with convenience 2.0. I'm talking about the other aisles of the stores, the other categories within CPG or fast-moving consumer goods. Specifically, when we're talking about sports nutrition or nutritional supplement companies, I'm really talking about them expanding their thought of their brand, products within their categories. There's a lot more of meshing that's happening between CPG categories. It's really hard categorically to describe one brand absolutely by one category at this point. So there's a lot of sections within the food, drug, mass convenience areas, be that coolers, be that cereal sections, be that beauty sections, whatever it is, there's just a ton of availability for incremental ads that functional items are now getting more conventional items off the shelf. Retailers realize that people are looking to be functional in so many different areas of their lives, and because of that, they're adding maybe 5, 10, 15% of the shelf of that conventional section is moving over to healthier for you, better for you areas that functional CPG brands and products can fit into. And if you spend any time in physical retailers, in some of those aisles within food, drug, mass convenience, specifically if you go to a Walmart or a Target or maybe a Kroger, what you'll see is when you go down some of those aisles, you'll see protein added this, or gut health that, or vitamin fortified this. And you're seeing those gained some slots across every single section. And even if I'm talking about like outside of food and beverage, you're seeing the same thing in some of the personal care, some of the pet, some of the beauty, and pretty much every CPG category is having this changeover to a more functional aspect of it. Consumers, because now they have the choice and they understand they can shop anywhere and there's so much availability of products and brands out there, they're really looking for a personalized approach to everything in their lives, and a lot of times they're looking for more functionality in their products. And obviously one of the areas that is driving a lot of this is convenience, mostly by millennials, but it's crossed all of the generations at this point. You're just looking for convenient items that fit into that lifestyle, that more functional lifestyle that you're looking to do. Better for you, healthier for you is one of those things you continuously hear across all categories. So the opportunity is there, and there's a ton of space that's going to be allocated to these as we march to this personalization era that I believe is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. Why are you not seeing this happening broad-based wise? Why are you not seeing more creative thinking across specifically even sports nutrition brands or nutritional supplement brands? I follow a lot of just tons of different categories. I work within a ton of different categories. So I'll say that you see it everywhere. You see people giving some tries here and there. But what I'm talking about here is that the brands that you would expect to be taking these opportunities and expanding their thought patterns, they're not doing it. They're not really thinking creatively around their product development. They're really thinking within the specific siloed products that have been available for the last few decades. And I understand that, creative thinking is one piece of it. I don't want to minimize the main root cause here is that just those brands are generally not as well capitalized as traditional food and beverage brands. And because of that, you don't have as much of availability to take risk. You don't have the resources available to you to execute on that creative thinking. So I totally get that. But what I'm saying is that I see entrepreneurs specifically in that space every day come to me and say, hey, I have this new pre-workout or I have this new things, but it's all the same stuff. It's not anything different. You can claim that your iteration is better than this person's or that person's, but is it actually going to get you shelf space? Is that actually going to get you to what you need to be considered a win in your mind? It's good to just be a lifestyle business, one that you can run by yourself and make a little extra money on the side, but are you actually going to make that impact within the areas that are growing right now? Are you going to be able to drive revenue through online, or are you going to be able to get on shelf at food, drug, mass convenience? And the ideas that are coming to mind, which are ready to mix powders, caps, pills, it just doesn't really have much space anymore. You're not going to have a ton of space available in the future for that. So most of the brands have taken that up, gobbled that up. Now there might be some changing between cycles of merchandising and things like that, but that's not like you're adding 5 to 10% more of a category that you have all this opportunity to take conventional items off the shelf. So creating these, same played out things that everybody's been creating for the longest time, you think to yourself, I'm going to get rich with this idea. And what it is, honestly, it's just a one-way ticket to a struggle bus that you're going to be getting in the future. This is not going to get easier for you. It's going to get more difficult. So you need to change paradigm shift of your brain and figure out where and what risk you're willing to take, how you're going to present yourself to maybe investors, a bunch of different things that you need to be thinking about in the future for this convenience 2.0 to work in your favor. Because I've said this in multiple videos, and I continue to say this today, is that you need to change up your thinking because this is the golden era of CPG entrepreneurship. I honestly believe that. People are willing to try new products. People are no longer attached to these legacy brands they have been for decades. You have low barriers of entry. You have the ability to create and launch things very quickly today. And it would be a shame if you didn't go out and really give it your all to take advantage of this era. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.